There is still much confusion tonight over whether stores like the Warehouse will remain open over the 4-week lockdown period. Retail giants, hardware stores and manufacturers are all desperately seeking clarification over whether they are considered essential services. The Warehouse said this morning it would be keeping its doors open, but the government says this might not be the case, leaving businesses in the dark with just over 24 hours to go until the lockdown period begins. Meriana Johnsen reports.
The Warehouse was confident it could keep its doors open, but was cut down by the government hours later. The Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment Deputy Chief Executive Paul Stokes says it isn't up to them.
The government has not decided that the Warehouse will be open. We are working through those firms that will be required or allowed to remain open. I would caution firms from leaping to judgments about what their status will be before they have received an adjudication from the government.
The Warehouse Group said in a statement this afternoon it is in discussion with the government about what items within its stores will remain available. The retailer, Briscoe Groups, is sticking with its planned shutdown of Rebel Sport and its homeware stores, as they say they are more concerned about staff well-being than sales.
We were not given any indication by anyone that if we chose to sell hand sanitizer and toilet paper, we'd be allowed to open. So that indication was not given to us. And look, at the end of the day, I think I'm a bit more interested in the safety and well-being of my staff rather than a few sales of some toilet rolls.
But First Union organiser Robin Wilson-Whitting says allowing large retailers to remain open to sell grocery items and pet food would help supermarket staff.
Our position is that having that sort of product available to customers in these circumstances could be beneficial as long as it's contained, and those are the only items that are available from a health and safety point of view. That would release the pressure that we're seeing on our members in the supermarket.
Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment Deputy Chief Executive Paul Stokes says essential services will be limited.
The purpose of the essential services list is not to ensure that life goes on unchanged. It's to ensure that we are able as a nation to self-isolate and eradicate and eliminate Covid-19. The purpose is to ensure that we provide for the necessities of life, for health, for safety, for welfare and for essential infrastructure.
But this definition has still left hundreds of businesses in the dark. The Employment and Manufacturers Association, the largest business member organisation in the country, has been inundated with calls from its members. Its head of advocacy and strategy, Alan McDonald, says it is receiving 500 calls a day from businesses, and half of those are from companies who want to know if they can stay open.
The message from the Prime Minister is we don't want businesses open unless they're essential. But too many people don't know what an essential business is, and they're going to make the decision for themselves. These are people who have built up businesses over years, and the prospect of seeing that disappear or struggle, they're sort of going, well, I'm going to open.
Meanwhile, Bunnings were unable to comment on whether their doors would be open come Thursday morning. An 0800 number for businesses to ask if they are considered essential or not will be made available from 5 p.m. today. Mo te hōtaka o te ahiahi, ko Meriana Johnsen tēnei.